Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my guide to Lakshmi Extreme, one of the two extreme primals accompanying the launch of patch 4.0. This battle can be unlocked by speaking to the Wandering Minstrel, who has moved to Kugane next to the Kogane Dori Market Ethernet. You must complete the main scenario quest before the Minstrel will unlock this fight. Lakshmi Extreme drops item level 320 accessories as well as Bliss Totems. 5 Bliss Totems can be exchanged for an accessory of your choice from the Primal exchange vendor in Rhalgr's Reach. Lakshmi also drops a mount, a crafting material, and a music sheet, as well as some tomestones. Lakshmi is broken up into 3 phases, including having a mini phase that occurs within phases 1 and 3. To skip to a specific phase, please use the time skips in the description of the video. Please note we'll be approaching this guide from a standard composition perspective, meaning 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 4 DPS. It is possible to do this with 1 tank or 1 healer though. This guide also assumes you are somewhat familiar with the normal mode encounter, and comes with a detailed order of abilities in a Google Doc in the description as well. Phase 1 with Lakshmi starts mostly the same as normal mode. The first major difference is that you start the fight immediately with 3 stacks of Vril. We'll come back to Vril once we get into Phase 1 a bit. At the start of the fight, kill off both of the Dreaming Keishichiras. They have a strong tank cleave and a gaze AoE around them, but so long as you look away and the tank faces them away from the group, it shouldn't be an issue. Lakshmi will also use Stotram, healing the Vriled adds and dealing high damage to the group, but again, shouldn't be an issue. Once the 2 adds are dead, you'll want to have both your tanks get high enmity on Lakshmi herself. We tank her where she spawns, though the middle of the room can leave you with more space to spread out for some mechanics. While there are no tank swaps the entire fight, one of Lakshmi's major attacks always targets the off tank. This attack, designated by a blue marker, more specifically appears over the head of whoever has the second highest enmity on Lakshmi. After a few seconds, this blue marker hits in a huge cone in the direction of the marked player, also dealing very high damage. We use a combination of Provoke and Shirk to ensure both tanks are 1 and 2 on the aggro list. If you're unsure, use the aggro meters on your party list to check. To be honest, we've done this with 1 tank and just put mitigation on the second in aggro and survived it fine. In terms of placing the blue marker, we have the main tank rotate Lakshmi slightly to the left, while the blue marker stands on her flank, facing her slightly off north alignment. As for her other phase 1 mechanics, Pull of Light is a heavy hitting tank buster, Stotram, like we mentioned earlier, is a room wide AoE, and Pall of Light is a split damage AoE. Lakshmi has several combination of hand attacks that mark players with either target left or target right. Hand of Grace puts target right on players, Hand of Beauty puts target left on players, and Alluring Arm is a combination of both. Now if you have target right, you'll get this cross AoE. If you get target left, you'll get a circle AoE that leaves behind a puddle, dealing damage over time. This mechanic only targets the healers as long as the healers are alive. I know it doesn't sound great for a guide, but almost every group I've been in has just winged this, even ones with pugs, with the general rule just being, don't be hit by more than 1 AoE. If you're not the intended target, as long as you're only hit by 1, it's far from fatal. The primary mechanic of Lakshmi is Chanchala, a super buff that gives her attacks additional effects or makes them instantly KO you. TLDR, you just want to use Vril for every mechanic that would target you while she has this buff up. It doesn't matter if it's the tank buster, it doesn't matter if it's the circle AoE, it doesn't matter what attack it is. If she's under Chanchala and you will be hit by the attack, use a Vril. Remember that you can bind your duty action button in your hotbar key bindings at the very bottom. Also, Vril has a super long duration, so during Chanchala you can pretty much just Vril as soon as you are hit by a mechanic, and it should last long enough until the next one. Let's go over all the additional effects of these skills if you don't use Vril. Divine Denial is a room-wide knockback. Without Vril, it'll instantly send you off the edge. Oh, that's right, you can fall off here, by the way. The target left AoEs will give you a heavy effect if you don't have Vril for them. Also, those, again, will only target healers and will grow to be quite large during Chinchilla, so you can choose to drop them right next to each other or drop them on the east and west side of the arena, which is what we did here. Pull of Light will one-shot a tank without Vril, but you still want tank cooldowns even with Vril. The blue marker similarly will one-shot the person hit by it without Vril. If doing a 2-tank strat, it's going to be easily survivable. If doing 1 tank, expect to shield the DPS who is second on aggro. Divine Desire summons a puddle in the middle of the room that deals high damage over time and pulls everyone towards Lakshmi. If you don't use Vril, it will pull you all the way in and stun you for several seconds, as opposed to just a slight pull in. This should be the last mechanic you see under Chihuahua in Phase 1. After that, just do a few of her non-buff mechanics until she goes into Phase 2, her ad phase. Lakshmi's ad phase spawns 2 Dreaming Shudra and 2 Dreaming Brahmin on 4 sides of the room. Each tank should generate high aggro on 2 of them if doing 2 tank strats, preferably splitting the room in half. One tank takes the east 2, and the other takes the west 2. The ads don't move unfortunately, so you will be running between them and using Provoke to make sure they are auto-attacking you and you only. The 2 Shudra mobs will also occasionally do giant AoEs on 2 marked players, so spread out away from people if you get these. I also believe that if this AoE hits a vrilled target, it will heal them, but I've never seen that, so I'm just going to convey that to you as it was conveyed to me. Your goal in this ad phase is to get all of these Ananta low, and then only kill them when they are afflicted with Vrill. This can be seen by the bubble bouncing between them as you attack. When one with Vrill on it dies, 3 players will get a full refill on their Vrill stacks before it bounces to another ad. When one of the Ananta dies, Lakshmi brings it back to life with full health shortly after, so just mindlessly killing them will yield poor results. That being said, even if you kill the first 2, you'll get 6 out of the 8 Vrills needed to pass the phase. The Vrill may transfer back onto one of the recently resurrected full health Anantas. Just start getting one of the 2 revived Ananta low, and jump at the first chance to kill a low health ad that has Vrill. I'd advise against using damage over time effects in this phase, and make sure summoner pets don't accidentally kill one too early either. Once you've killed 3 ads that have Vrill, or when the alluring embrace meter depletes, the phase will end. Everyone needs to use a Vrill here in order to survive Lakshmi's alluring embrace, so if you didn't manage to kill 3 Vrilled Ananta, 2 people are definitely dead. After alluring embrace, Lakshmi enters her final phase. Final phase Lakshmi has mostly the same attacks from phase 1, but is far more aggressive during her Chanchala phases, as well as has some new enhanced attacks during it. As soon as Lakshmi returns to the field, use a Vrill, as her very next attack is another Chimichanga enhanced attack. Divine Doubt will cause everyone on the field to be confused and begin to attack your allies. Break up into 4 groups of 2 and stand next to your designated partner. That way, you all don't gang up on one person and kill them by accident. Make good use of the new D marker and set up 4 spots your pairs will run to. If you fail to Vrill Divine Doubt, you'll be confused for much longer. It's really important the off tank doesn't screw this up in this case. Right after this is a blue marker, so the off tank should get the Vrill and get in position to get it away from the group. After this is a Pull of Light, before Lakshmi will give you a chance to refill your Vrill. Several large line AoEs will spawn with small bubbles spread across them. Touching a bubble refills all 3 of your Vrills, so if you have a Vrill left over, I'd use it before grabbing a new set. You'll need to save these Vrill for the new Chanchala, so don't use them right away. Make sure to move out of the AoEs that spawn after grabbing your refill also. Right before going back into Chanchala, Lakshmi will do Alluring Arm, giving 3 people target right and 1 person target left. The off tank will also get a blue marker, so everyone spread out and let the tanks handle this the same way you've been handling the blue marker thus far. The next Chanchala will likely be your final one. It starts with Divine Doubt before immediately using Pall of Light. Failing to Vrill Pall of Light gives you a powerful damage over time effect, so be sure to Vrill as soon as you are unconfused. After this, use another Vrill and prepare to refill your Vrills again, this time with a ring AoE along the outside of the room. Vrill the Divine Desire so you don't get pulled in, then Vrill again immediately. More Vrill Orbs will appear, along with another Pall of Light, so refresh your Vrills one last time and then stack for the Pall. The remaining Stotram is also Chanchala enhanced, but it does just do increased damage. With Astrologian or Scholar Shields, Divine Veil, or any sort of damage shielding, you can save a Vrill here and just mitigate the extra damage instead. If you're low on HP though, and you won't get healing in time, just use the Vrill. If all goes according to plan, this will be the last time you see Chala Head Chala. This means you can use some of your remaining Vrills to completely mitigate the next few mechanics since they won't be Chanchala enhanced. This includes an Alluring Arm, Pall of Light, and Blue Marker all at the same time. Ideally, those not affected with target right or target left would stack up for the Pall. Then, while the targeted players are spread out, the off tank would take the Blue Marker to their usual position. However, if you Vrill any mechanics here, they'll heal you instead of damaging you, so if you feel like your life is threatened, use a Vrill. One more Alluring Arm plus Pall of Light plus Blue Marker will happen after, though a bit more slowly this time. If at this point she is not dead, you're getting really in close to Enrage, and you may want to save one Vrill in case she enters Chanchala one last time. If she does enter Chanchala, she'll repeat the same mechanics as the previous one. So she'll start with the Divine Doubt and then go into the Pall of Light. And at this point, she's probably going to enrage, which is about 11 minutes and 15 seconds into the encounter. Honestly, so long as you vril the mechanics and don't stack them on top of each other to kill each other, you'll probably clear this even with a bunch of different strategies. Don't take this guide for verbatim at all. There's so many ways you could just make up for a lot of mechanics and pug groups with this fight. Don't be intimidated. Don't think you gotta follow this verbatim. Tanking her in the middle, tanking her towards a wall, 2 tanks, 1 tank. There's so many different ways. Do vril, do mechanics, you win. Thank you for watching my guide to Lakshmi Extreme, as helpful as it may or may not have actually been. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned because we're now only a week out until we get to Omega Normal, then 2 weeks out until Omega Savage. We'll be doing guides on all of those, so be sure to stick by. I will see you guys soon, and until then, take care.